I got to admit, I did not think that I'd be doing any Colorado Rockies talk this week or anytime soon. No offense to the Rocks. You know I've got your back. You know it. But you also have the third worst record in the bigs right now. So that does not exactly lend itself to a lot of run around here. If I'm talking Rockies baseball right now, it's because something pretty remarkable and probably pretty unusual and pretty wild must have happened in a Rockies game. Well, don't respond to that. Alvin, don't do that. You know what that inspires. Come to find out, something pretty remarkable and pretty freaking wild did happen at Coors Field yesterday. In fact, one of my favorite things ever happened at Coors Field yesterday. Who knew that a Cal Quantrill, Reese McGuire, fourth inning at bat in an 8-2 game could be so epic? It turned out to be my favorite AB of the entire season. That's how epic. Now, the thing is, it all seemed pretty innocent and pretty innocuous at first. In fact, initially, it's kind of hard to imagine how this thing was even a thing. How did anybody get the red ass? How did anybody get the red ass over that situation? A routine fly ball to end the fourth inning in an 8-2 game. Pretty standard stuff, right? Yet the next thing you know, benches are clearing, dugouts are emptying, and for who? For what? Now, I can answer that. For one of the best things ever. That's for what? It was only when lip readers got to see the replay that we actually figured out exactly what went down here. But this is how it came off initially on the broadcast when initially it was not clear what precipitated the whole thing.
99 of O'Neal Cruz.
Well, good job by Cal Quantrill to limit the damage. Yeah, what's going on? Stallings and Quantrill. And both benches are emptying. Reese McGuire took issue with Cal Quantrill.
So they started jogging.
Somebody's yelling at Bud Black. Nick Pavetta's yelling at Bud Black. Jaron Duran's now yelling too. A bunch of Red Sox guys. Alex Cora is getting hot.
Like, the hell just happened there? This isn't that great Rockies-Red Sox rivalry that boiled over. It's an 8-2 game in the fourth inning. That's not exactly Petey chucking Zim around. The hell happened there? Even the managers got involved. I mean, leave my dudes, Alex Cora and Buddy Black alone. And for your daily reminder, I never, ever play favorites. Ever, ever. I'm as objective as the day is long. I do not play favorites. Buddy Black and Alex Cora are two of my favorite baseball men ever. I love both these dudes as managers, dudes, and former players. That said, the hell does any of this have to do with either of them? Answer, nothing. Question, so what exactly just happened? What was going on here? Well, evidently, Reese McGuire took issue with Cal Quantrill. That was pretty much clear right away, right? That dude said something. That dude was chirping. That dude was really, really animated. Something happened. That dude said something that caused Reese to snap and the benches to clear and the Red Sox to walk around looking at each other like, the hell did that dude just say? Did he really just say what I think he just said? No way he just went there. So, what did he say? As I mentioned, this opening take is extremely graphic in nature. What did he say? That's when you pull up the alt angle and close up in slow-mo. That's when the lip readers come in. Are you ready for this? Go ahead, Alvy. Can you see that? If you're watching on the stream, can you read lips?
Look it.
Look it. You don't have to be. Some people are really good. You know, some people have a knack for picking signs. They're like really good at it. Some people have a knack for reading lips. You don't need to have a knack to read those lips. That's a very easy read. If you're watching on the stream, did you get all that? Because you don't need to be much of a lip reader to follow that one. Day one lip readers. can follow what he just said. I'll say this much, though. You might have to know about Reese McGuire and Reese's history to understand what Quantrill was saying. But if you know about Reese, then you picked up on that immediately. For the radio audience, I cannot repeat what Quantrill said verbatim, but I can do the redacted version. He said, and I quote, this is where it gets graphic. He said, and I quote, "You blanked off in a blanking parking lot, you dumb blank." End of quote. Now imagine him actually going with all the F-bombs in the part that's not redacted. What an incredible line. That is legendary. That is an all-time on-field baseball quote. Not even a quote. Not even a burn. Straight evisceration. That is so good because, frankly, unfortunately, it's so accurate. It's incredible smack because it's undeniably true. Quantrill is not making any of that up. That's not some random smack. Reese McGuire did, in fact, do that very act back in 2020, which you will remember if you were listening to this show back in 2020, because it absolutely was the topic on this show back in 2020. Because, of course it was. How could it not be? They found this dude, still graphic. This take is still graphic in nature. They found this dude getting nice with himself in a car in a Florida parking lot. You happy, James Kelly?
That is a disgusting act.
I mean, it's all true. And there's so much more about the situation that is also true, at least according to TMZ's reporting at that time.
It's disgusting.
Well, I mean, it's not disgusting, but it's disgusting in that context, right? For instance, TMZ reported the fact that when the police showed up to the parking lot, they saw McGuire with his shirt, quote, barely covering his genitals, end of quote, and his sweatpants around his ankles. That's when they got him out of the car, and he, quote, it's about to get graphic up in here. He, quote, had an erection, which was very apparent. End of quote. Yes, clones, I am well aware that that means he had the famous, quote, boner in sweatpants.
You love the pitch.
And nobody will be surprised to find out that when the police got a hold of his phone, a quote, extremely pornographic video was playing on the screen. End of quote.
What is X?
Not just pornographic, but extremely pornographic. He was hitting that extreme porn in that Florida parking lot with his sweatpants around his ankles. Because you just can't get there with normal porn. Anyway, by the way. If it's normal porn, the sweatpants are not around his ankles, I bet. If it's normal porn, he wouldn't have had to stop in that parking lot. He would have done what the rest of us would have done. Waited until he got home. However, in his defense, apparently it was extreme porn. Anyway, he never denied any of it. Then again, how could he deny any of it? He literally got caught with his pants down. Literally got caught with his sweatpants around his ankles. So there really is no denying that one, right? So yes, of course I remember this story. Clearly, I'm not the only one who remembered that story. You know who else remembered that story? Cal Quantrill. And you just know that dude could not wait to break that thing out and throw it in Reese's face. Could not wait to weaponize Reese's most humiliating moment ever. You just know Cal was like, try me, bro. Try me, bro. Don't taste me, bro. Cal was like, please, turn around. Have a problem with what I just said. I beg you. I've been waiting 4 years for this. See, that's another question I have. How did this take so long? How has this never blown up before? The said act happened 4 years ago. There's no chance that this is the first time that this come up on the field during a game, right? How does this not come up every single time this guy steps between the lines? He's got to hear it all the time, right? There's no way that that's the first time an opponent blasted that dude with that right between his eyes. However, it is probably the first time we've gotten a perfect slow-mo replay of it happening. I mean, who knows? Maybe every bench clearing incident since McGuire joined the Red Sox can be traced right back to somebody calling him a dumb bleep for getting caught with his sweatpants down in a Florida parking lot. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that clubhouse. It would seem to me, though, the Red Sox have got to be so tired of this, like, not again. Here we go again. Again, we have to ride to the defense of Mr. Boner in sweatpants. No, I mean, like, there's no way you can get caught staying in the dugout, right? I mean, I understand how the code has changed, but I don't think that part of the code will ever change. You cannot stay in the dugout when bench is clear. You got to be on that field. You have to, even if you're just looking to hold on to somebody, dance with somebody for appearances. You have to run out on the field. But they've got to be so tired of defending this carjacker. And by the way, Quantrill, he had to have done that on purpose, right? I mean, how could he or anybody else be that jacked up, no pun intended, that jacked up about getting out of that inning? He couldn't have been that fired up, right? Like, he had to provoke this dude. He had to hope that dude would have a problem just so he could light him up with, hey, yo, you blanked off in a bleeping parking lot, you dumb bleep.
Yo.
Now, he insists, as all baseball players will, that that's not what happened. He insisted that's not what happened. I insist that that's damn impossible to believe.
But Black was mentioning how, you get big outs, you get emotional. Take us through the little interaction.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I recognize we were up by whatever we're up by, but I celebrate when I get important outs. And he took offense to it. Some words were exchanged. It's baseball. We'll all move on.
Good one, dude. You celebrate when you get important outs. You've got the third worst record in all of baseball. That was not an important out. That was the fourth inning in an 8-2 game. Yeah, I'm not so sure we're all moving on, dude. I love the way he tagged out. We're all moving on. You might be moving on. Nobody else is moving on. I'm sure Reese is not moving on. I know I sure as hell am not moving on. Why would I move on from the best moment of the season so far?
Why do I have to? Why do I have to?
Truthfully, bro, I don't think anybody wants to move on. He took offense to it. Which part? Which part? Your celebration? Or were you yelled in his face after the celebration?
Right,
or what you yelled in his face after the celebration? Or all the above? Maybe he took some offense to the yelling, but I'm guessing he took way more offense to that part when you hit him with the, quote, you blanked off in a blanking parking lot, you dumb blank. Bad news, baseball. For all the good things that happened this season between the lines, nothing has been better than that. And that should tell you all you need to know about what's left of our former national pastime. That was the thing that got me to leave this show with some baseball. Hey, and by the way, give me that, and I will lead this show every single day talking about baseball. We just need less ball and more dugouts clearing over a dude cranking down in his car.
Crank, crank.
Less ball
Crank.
and more dude getting busted for trying to bust. Hey, and by the way, no offense, Florida, but I would have thought that this kind of thing was allowed in your state, encouraged in your state, rewarded in your state. You know, land of the free, home of the parking lot jack. I gotta say, this is not the best look for my half fam up in Massachusetts. 1 second, you're rooting for the Red Sox. The next, you're trying to defend your catcher by saying, come on, bro. Come on, man. Get off our guy. Tell me you never got the urge to jackhammer your own piece in a 4-door sedan. Hey, my dude, Reese, if you're letting the hands fly every time somebody reminds you that you played a game of tug the slug in a parking lot, my guy, you're going to spend a hell of a lot more time fighting than playing. I mean, what? You weren't expecting the opposition to weaponize that moment against you? Dude, anytime you even look at anybody sideways, they're going to be like, yo, champ, you cranked it in a parking lot. Yo, man, shut your bleeping face.
Right in my face.
Here's my advice. And no, not my advice to you, shut up. No. My advice, hold off that narrative, or hold on to that narrative like it was your Johnson in that parking lot, and do not let go. Own it, man. You're a pro ball player. You are living the dream. You had a bad day. There is no need to let the blood rush to your head every time somebody reminds you of that time the blood rushed to your head. Dude, you got to get beyond this, man, because nobody else will. I know that sounds counterintuitive. You need to get beyond this because nobody else will. You see me working. That was wild. A wild. I've seen dugouts clear over some crazy things. That was wild. And I stand by what I said. The best moment of the baseball season. Why else do you think I just led with it for 20 minutes?